I also think defensively they've kind of figured out who they have to be. And I think they got to be very aggressive, not just blitzing, but in terms of man-to-man coverage in the secondary and pressing up on people. I think they can do that with this group. And they ought to be able to stop the quarterback run. And this guy's not a speedster. So you stop this guy and you get him behind the chains and you make him do something he doesn't want to do, which is throw from the pocket. And I think you got a chance to blow this team out.
What are you willing to live with defensively?
I'll give up a big play.
Okay.
I'm completely willing to give up a big play if we play aggressive. I've said it since before the first game. This is not new. Speed everybody up. It increases possessions for our offense, which I figured would be better than it's been, and I still figure it's going to be better than it's been. So I'm fine with it. Give the ball back to Jordan. Give the ball back to Keon Coleman. Give the ball back to Johnny Wilson. Give the ball back to Mike Norvell and Alex Adkins. Give the ball back to Jaheim Bell. Give the ball back to Kyle Morlock. Give the ball back to all these weapons, and let's see if we can get in a rhythm using those guys that are better than your guys. And if that means that I take some chances on defense in order to try to force turnovers or get you well behind the chains and force more 3-and-outs, then that's what I'm willing to do. All the while I understand that there may occasionally be a fantastical bust in which you don't get home, a guy buys a little too much time, and somebody's streaking wide open. That's not the same defensively as 2 years ago where one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing and the defense was not coordinated. And that's why I had lengthy discussions about I've got 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, because the defense is not coordinated. The defense has very much been coordinated now. They just don't always execute. They have struggled, I think, especially when they lay back. They still can't, and it's something that's going to drive me nuts, and I'll talk about it in the offseason. They still can't properly play zone. And that sucks, and it's bothersome. But you have something you can do about it, and you have personnel that allows you to do something about it, which is stay out of it, not 100% of the time. I'm not saying you're all this or all that, but you can be a little bit more of this and a little bit less that, and I think that's what this defense has to be.
I agree. I think that's what you want to give up. The more plays you have on offense, the better. The easiest way to lose a game that you should not is if the opposition has the ball for 35 or 36
Correct.
minutes.
And now each possession matters.
Yes.
Greatly.
Yes, the best defense that any opponent that's outgunned, and I don't know that there are many left on our schedule that can go toe-to-toe possession for possession, but the best defense they can play is holding on to the football. And Virginia Tech will do that if they can. I think they'll go for it in 4th and shorts if they can, if they get to that point in the series of the downs because their quarterback is large. But I love this test. This is the perfect follow-up test for Boston College. They're not exactly the same. This quarterback, you're right, is slower. He's stronger.
He's a big, strong dude, yeah.
But when you talk about responsibilities, doing your own job and nobody else's job, this is a perfect test. They are so multiple in their formations, Virginia Tech. You'll see guys motion in the backfield, and they'll have 3 lined up near the quarterback, then 2, a jet motion. They'll have little flare pitch outs, and then that'll be faked later in the game with the quarterback keeping it, and there's kind of a triple option look. This is a nightmare when it comes to sorting out whose responsibilities are whose if you're not minding your P's and Q's and you're not locked in. So I love this test. It can show that you've learned from the Boston College issue. It's not about Castellanos and his running ability, but we had a couple of times in 3rd and 10s where linebackers are leaving their responsibility. If they stay where they were, they're in the right position to make the play, and that's what they're supposed to do. Instead, they'll vacate, double cover a kid who was never supposed to be double covered, and here is the Red Sea parting for Castellanos to break off a 3rd and 10 run that cripples you, and the time of possession now rolls on even more. This Virginia Tech offense is multiple enough to trick you with misdirection that if your eyes are somewhere where they shouldn't be, just like Boston College, you're going to be made to look foolish.
Yeah, if it happens, Tom, it's okay to be really angry. It's okay to be really angry on Monday because it didn't confuse Purdue, it didn't confuse Rutgers, and it didn't confuse Marshall.
Well, yes, the other problem is their offensive line isn't very good.
So I was just going to say, what is it you say you do here if all of a sudden we can't figure it out, but Purdue, Rutgers, and Marshall did?
But here's back to the original question. What are you willing to live with? Because they might call a misdirection play perfectly into the teeth of where a blitz is coming from and somebody's wide open. That's just going to happen. That's the nature of the beast.
Willing to do it.
So you cannot be mad about that.
But you can be mad about sustained success for an offense that hasn't had it.
Right.
Save for the game against Pitt, and Pitt is terrible.
Yeah, the easiest 2 ways to look at this when you're watching a replay or watching live is a safety, for example, getting downhill and willing to make a decision and trigger and make a play. We've been timid in that area, specifically with one of our safeties. That's got to improve. And the other is
He's had a rough go.
When you get the sense that the linebackers are guessing, and they're just choosing, and they're saying, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm going this way. And that happened on a couple of third downs in this game against Boston College. This is just, the Clemson game was never going to fix the issues of Boston College. This is your first chance to do so against Virginia Tech.
Hopefully they get it done. Really quickly, just so people know, because I understand that if you're only casually observing college football, it sounds weird to hear a host say that Pitt is terrible and say it definitively like it's just disrespectful. And this Pitt is not the Pitt that you've seen. Pitt's beaten Wofford. That's it. That's all, everybody. Pitt just got trounced by this Virginia Tech team, 38-21. Pitt lost to Cincinnati. Pitt lost to West Virginia. Pitt lost to North Carolina. Pitt lost to Virginia Tech. They've lost 4 straight games. They really weren't competitive in all those games. So at the line of scrimmage, anyhow. So they've had a real hard time protecting their quarterback. Florida State is worlds better than Pitt. Florida State is worlds better than the 3 teams that have beaten Virginia Tech. At some point, we'll stop making excuses. If they're not executing on either side of the ball, we just got to say it. They're not great. If that happens. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to execute this weekend. I think we're going to blow Virginia Tech out.
Well, the other thing is, okay, I'm talking about the negative of what do you want to live with if you're pressuring. The other thing is you instantly get into the backfield. They're trying to run a gadget, and it gets destroyed. Yeah. And it's 2nd and 18, and they look like a bunch of fools. You get them off the field now because you can play a little bit off, and everything's in front of you. They punt, you score, you do it again. You get that Michigan,
avalanche,
Nebraska, like you discussed.
Oh yeah,
it's 14-0, 21-0. You get the start that you want. Crowds involved, they're done.
And by the way, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to get off to a good start on defense. You can begin a game and get some stops. You don't have to wait to the adjustments at halftime every week. You could maybe just start the game and be really good. That'd be cool. It'd be a change of an experience for all of us.
Hey, baby steps. They got a first possession stop against Clemson last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then they didn't.
And then
yeah.
Hey man, if we say and then about anything, you can find.
No.